Hello.
Yes, I'm so sorry to bug you.
Oh, hey, Mark. How's your uncle?
That's it. I tried to get in to see him, and I got trespassed. But let me tell you what happened, okay? So, they moved him, and they're trying to cut his foot off. It's horrible what they're up to. Okay?
Really?
Yeah, and
Sorry to hear that.
make a long story short, they finally moved him into the rehab like 2 or 3 days, with orders to now make sure he walks before he can come home. And so today I was just trying to take him. I had gone there actually earlier in the day, same receptionist. And she kind of knows how I am. I don't want to put my fingers on this touch screen that they have because, everybody in their mother's like, okay. But she's always let me in. Even if we've had kind of a little blah, 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 she lets me in. And she let me in this morning. Okay? I come back this afternoon. She starts to give me a problem. And I said, come on, come here, blah, 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 blah. I don't want to touch that. And I didn't know that her husband was sitting there. And all of a sudden, he just popped up and started he goes, who the fuck you talking to? That's my wife, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, whatever. But, then I went back to my argument with her, right? I sat down, I think, and then when I had said something else and I got back up, and then he just got right into my face right here. And he's a pretty ominous man. And he was just right in my face. I mean, I could smell the cigarette breath, and he's, I'll beat your fucking ass or something like that. So I just lowered my eyes, and I was just watching his hands, to see what he was going to do. But I was super threatened. I mean, this is a very, ominous looking black guy, right? I mean, you forget the color, okay? And so I cowered down, I sat down, I just shined my eyes down, and then some other people started to come in, and they started asking what was going on. So eventually somebody called their supervisor, and while the supervisor was on the phone, she told them, well, have somebody else sign in for him. And I said, okay, here's my ID. You can sign in for me on that thing. But in the past, they have let me sign on a piece of paper. Yeah. Just to log in. I don't want to touch the screen. Anyways, this time, after they did that, and after they saw that I was calling the police, I think that's what really pissed them off. Because they were calling their supervisor at the same time I was calling the police to report the assault. And at that point, they decided that they were going to trespass me in retaliation of whatever it was. So I call your officers out, and is it Jones? He goes in to investigate, and he comes out, and you can catch this on his camera. He says to me, he goes, they just told us what really happened, and it's not what you said. They're lying, And I mean, why would I walk up to a guy to his chair so he could breathe his smoke in my face? I didn't do any of that. Yeah. And then even Deere began justifying this behavior because I had told him, I said, I think what the incident was that we have an incident almost like a Chris Rock thing. Did Chris Rock, do something, or was it Will Smith that was agitated and wanted to prove to Jada, something, right? Because that's what was going on. He for no reason was up here defending her. You don't talk to my wife like that, blah, 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 blah. I'll beat your fucking ass, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, okay. So I just started calling the police. They called their supervisor. The supervisor told them, and I might even be on the 911 call when the supervisor told them to let me do this. Anyways, your supervisor or your guy on the phone was just, Mark, just wait outside. So when I waited outside, your guys came and they trespassed me. They didn't take a complaint for the assault that I called in for. They said now that that the facts are in. They've done their investigation.
Yeah, I know what these look like.
Yeah.
So the way this works, okay, and then I'll explain it. So any kind of private business, et cetera, whatever, okay, they can literally trespass anybody from their property. Right. They don't want them on there, okay. So,
but this was done in retaliation because I was calling the police.
I understand. Yeah. But the thing is if they go, hey, we want that guy trespassed, okay?
Sure.
All right.
But I want him.
But
a report for the assault.
So the lady for the director lady, she's only there Monday through Friday. I think she gets in at from 9 to 5. She's the one who has access to the cameras.
Right.
And sadly, anything and it's Sunday, so anything past 4 o'clock, there's nobody there to sit there and review the cameras.
Right. And how do we know now they're not going to sabotage them? Right now they know we're after.
By state law, they can't.
Well,
Okay.
these people lied against state law.
Well,
They all said the
so
same.
the good thing-
And then your officers, well, we had two independent. How are they independent? They all work together.
Well, there's two. Like that's the thing. You gotta understand the way it goes is like we show up. Okay. Hopefully there's video.
Right.
All right. Which will make it 10 times easier for us.
Right.
Which will have to be tomorrow.
But the way Jones approached me, just to almost insinuate that I was lying, it was nothing what you said. Because we finally know what really happened, and it wasn't what you said. And, here's the other question I have for you. How do I know that these cameras are recording both voice and camera?
They do it all the time. Like mine's on right now.
I know, but how come some are red?
So the ones that are, so it's a setting, like since we work night shift, like I keep mine on stealth mode so it doesn't have the red light, but it shows in the top of a camera going there.
Okay.
So.
And that's camera and sound?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, all the time. So pretty much any interaction that we have, we're supposed to have it on. So they'll have, we'll have the body cam videos. Did he give you a card? Or
Only Jones did. Deer was just like, I told you what my number is, 186 or something.
Yeah, I'll put it on.
Yeah, because I don't know why. And then later on, he was trying to talk to me while I was calling for you guys. They got angry that I called for supervisors, right? And
well, he had already called me on the radio saying, "Hey, can you be this way?"
Deere did or Jones?
Jones did, and I was on a whole nother call in a different area.
But Deere then later on came up with this thing where he goes, well, you were, and I didn't want to even talk to him. I was kind of just so agitated with him. But he goes, well, I'm just talking now. He goes, you brought up the incident of Chris Rock and Will Smith. He says, yeah. How would you feel if somebody was talking like that to your wife? And you could. I'm like, excuse me, sir?
I think it was
this guy?
No, I think it was just coming.
And the thing is, Deere was defending everything, but Deere never went inside. Deere didn't know anything about the situation. He may have heard something from Jones, but now he's the expert. He's postulated that I'm the guy that's the wrong in person here. That's why I told him, I'm not leaving till you give me a report on that guy for assault. In fact, you should have grabbed his ID and ran him, not running me.
Oh, they got everybody's.
Did they get that one guy? Okay.
Yeah, they got everybody. They got the receptionist, her husband, and the other two people they talked to. They got all that information.
Yeah.
So what I already talked to Jones. He said he's gonna have day shift go out and review the video tomorrow.
Okay. Yeah. Appreciate
But what I would do first thing, and I told this a little here, everybody, call the director because the director will pull it up and everything else, and she'll sit there and talk to you, etc. About the trespass. You can say, hey, my uncle is there,
Right, I'm just trying to help him.
Yeah.
Because it always makes it so difficult.
And the director, just explained to her what happened and everything else, because if there was an issue with an employee, then they had to look into that too. Mm-hmm. So.
But see, I don't have no right to subpoena those cameras unless I have an official.
Well, and that's
complaint.
One of the things that we'll do is we'll go through it and everything else to sit there and see what's going on with this. So what.
Right, because he says that my complaint's in here, and it's like, I don't see anything about what I'm telling you happened.
One second. Good.
Sorry.
Denver.
You get what I'm saying? I mean,
Yeah.
how come they took down the people that assaulted me?
So so that's the case number for everything. So that has everybody's information that was involved. It has, it has that. All of our body cams get tagged under that number and everything else.
Okay.
So when we have our day shift go out tomorrow, they'll sit there and review the cameras, talk with the director and everything else. Like I said, I always, if it's a problem with somebody at the facility, like what's going back and forth kind of thing, the director has to look into that. Okay. So she'll already look at the cameras and everything else, and she'll know to look at it as soon as you give her a call first thing in the morning. Okay. We'll sit there and tell our day shift to go out there too.
Right.
They'll probably go out there around the same time just to, go out and talk to her, be like, hey, this is what happened. This is what was said back and forth. Let's figure this out kind of thing.
Okay.
But the director, should be able to tell you. And then I would explain your side of everything. Like, hey, I could hear on the phone that you were saying it was perfectly fine. Just have somebody put in the stuff for me because you don't want to touch it.
Right.
And, then after that, it was a thing back and forth because she was saying that she's not willing to do it. She wasn't going to do that. And then we came out and everything else back and forth and tell them about the issue with the husband. Mm-hmm. And then as soon as all she has to do, especially if we show up and everything else, say that they, to rescind the trespass and just ask her about that, is all she has to do is call us, go, and hey, I want to rescind this trespass for Mark.
Right.
So you can go up there and see your uncle, blah, blah, blah. And that way it's done that you can go back up there and see him all the time. So what they end up finding out what's going on with him?
They're trying to cut his leg off is what it boils down to.
Really?
Yeah. And, I've had another Russian doctor look at this, but they won't listen to me or my Russian doctor, right? But it turns out that gangrene is a fungus.
Yeah.
And all these people are treating it like a bacteria, and they're wrapping the foot constantly. And I've noticed it. I mean, that foot, I don't know if you saw it, but the foot started off as a little, like a sore on the heel, like, because he was having to, have his foot up or whatever. So that foot has been under constant care for years, and it's just gone from bad to now they're ready to cut it off. And when I talked to the doctor over at, because they took him over to Holmes Regional, and I talked to him, I said, hey, look, just before George came here, I was trying to get him down to, and I have a referral for the hyperbaric, chamber, right? And he said, oh, that ain't going to work. He goes, the best people have looked at it. And I said, yeah, but right now it looks like the foot, you've got it wrapped too tight. It looks like they're going to, he goes, yeah, well, he goes, it's got gangrene and we're trying to accelerate it so we can get to the point where we can cut his foot off. And I'm like, oh, you motherfucker. So I got to try and talk to this doctor, but you see how they make these things so difficult for me. Even yesterday or the day before when I went to Melbourne, they made it so difficult for me to get to a doctor that I finally had to get in the car like 4 hours later and drive down there so I could at least, get to somebody, it's just like so.
So when did he get up here to Rockledge Health and Rehab?
Yesterday. No, 2 days ago.
You could always sit there too and, if you know who his doctor is, give the doc, if you can, like any of his prescription bottles for George, because I know he still has some in his room, the phone number for the doctor's office should be on there. And they're normally there Monday through Friday. You can give them a call and tell them, hey, this is what's going on. This is, what's, my concerns and everything else. And this is the facility he's at.
So I told him that. So let me tell you what happened. So his doctor is a guy named Aziz down here, but Aziz doesn't have access to Holmes, whatever that system was. So he goes, unfortunately, that's his new doctor now. So, and even now when he goes here, that's who his doctor is. I guess unless this guy can come, I don't know.
I guess if they assigned him a new specialist
or something
at the hospital, then that would happen. But there should be something. Does George have a cell phone?
Yeah.
You could probably call George and be like, hey, on your discharge patient for Holmes, what's the phone number for your new doctor?
Oh, I already got it, but he's not going to be until Monday. This guy here.
Yeah. That's a bad thing. Everything on the weekends is hard to get a hold of people and stuff, especially the same thing with the facility manager. It's pretty much the same thing in everything in the medical field, which is crazy. And
anyways, I didn't mean to complain. It's just like I felt like I'd call in because somebody assaulted me. These people lie about me, and now I'm the one who's got this problem here, and nobody even took a report on what I had to say about this guy. You guys came out saying, we know what now really happened because these two people, independent, said so. And I said, bullshit, you pull those fucking cameras and then we'll talk.
Oh, I get that. I'd be frustrated as hell too.
Yeah.
And I get that, especially with
and
everything
especially
going on.
for them to come out and say that. It could have been something else if you come out and say, well, they're telling us a different story. No, he came out and said, now we know what really happened and it wasn't what you said. You'll hear it.
Okay.
That's wrong. He shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, I'll sit there and take a look at his body cam in a little bit. But if, like I said, call the director first thing. I would, especially if they're doing something with his fucking foot. Like, let me tell you right now, gangrene is not something you play with.
I know.
And if it is gangrene and it is deep into his tissue or whatever, I just from my knowledge is they generally want to sit there and get that treated soon because gangrene, if it moves everywhere.
These guys don't want to do that. They want to cut it because it's money. Those are things they're constantly. He is a product and a victim of the Medicare system. Everything that's been going on, he went like an idiot and got his. He was having prostate problems, right? He was having problems peeing and everything. Now he can't stop peeing, right? You saw that he had those, but he can't control it at all to the point now that they had to put him back on a catheter. Right.
So I will tell you, in my experience, when it comes to stuff like this, you have to literally keep calling repeatedly to get stuff done. And it's crazy that that's the way it is. But every doctor in Brevard County that I've ever seen is way overbooked. They put you a month out for an appointment and you need it like now. So you got to call, annoy the shit out of them. And
So
to
let me
get
tell you
something
for
done.
the future, so you know what does work. What does work is leeches, and what this lady, she's a Russian doctor. She's proposed, right, is we should be keeping the foot open and covering it with baking soda. Just drop it. And I've seen pictures where she showed me of people that she's treated where she's dropped baking soda, and she sure is right. The skin comes back because it's a fungus. And they're not treating it that way. Right now, the last time I saw that foot, they had it so bound up that the toes were like purple. I've never seen them. I mean, you saw it, wasn't it? They weren't purple, but they're purple now. And when I talked to the doctor, he says, yeah, we're trying to, progress it because the sooner he gets to a certain point, we can chop it off. I'm like, oh my God. Yeah, they don't want to save it. They don't want to.
If he has got gangrene, they should be having him like some kind of antibiotics. And other
They're
stuff.
not doing well. But see, that's the thing. Gangrene's not. It's not a bacteria.
Yeah, but to kind of keep it from.
It's a fungus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
it needs an antifungal of some type. I agree. But I hope you never end up in. Don't trust any of these people. They don't care.
I'll tell you, like
Don't vaccinate your
anything and
kids,
everything when it
your
comes to
kids.
medical. Like I double quadruple check and like look stuff up. I ask friends I have that are in the medical field and stuff like that, because sometimes like you just get a doctor that doesn't have a fucking clue,
They don't
and then
care.
sometimes you get a doctor that does have a clue, but. It's kind of weird that they're just like, oh, we're waiting, because in general, if it's gangrene, you have to like.
I know.
There's a certain.
They're not going to do it.
Like the fact that he's not at the hospital right now still for it and getting treated for it is kind of strange to me.
Yeah.
But I don't know everything aligned with it. So
But you know what the problem is? It has to do with especially if you get on Medicare, they have a certain list of approved things that they will do. And the things that will save that foot are not on that list.
well, and that's the weird thing too. I love that.
It's not weird. It's just that there's a business. It's not there. We think that they're here for our health and our service, but they're not. They're serving something else. And it's themselves.
And, like I'll tell you right now, like I've met some really good doctors, good nurses, like really good ones, great ones. I mean, Holmes has some of the best in certain fields, like. Their ER nurses, like, just like,
Good.
I'm definitely like, they're pretty good.
During the COVID thing here, okay, and I should have probably done more to defend everybody because I knew what was going on, and but one day I was here in the Rockledge, I forget what this one is called, Stewart.
Rockledge Health and
Yeah,
Rehab.
right, yeah. And my cousin was in the ER, and we're telling him no COVID shots, no sticks in the nose, none of this stuff. And one of the nurses came out. She goes, oh my God. She goes, I don't know what's going on. She goes, we have been watching them kill people with this remdesivir. She goes, and we don't know why. She goes, we've been waiting for she says, I'm just waiting for someone to come here and ask me what's been going on. Right? They never did.
Well, and from what I've seen on the news and everything else, they're doing audits of all these deaths that happened during COVID in 2020 and 2021. When COVID was at its highest, and pretty much they're finding out that some of these hospitals and stuff, the CEOs are getting indicted for fraud because if you died of a heart attack, they were saying it was COVID related, and if there was a COVID related death, there was a certain amount of money for the treatment or whatever that was sent by FEMA.
But they blocked, remember the ivermectin, they blocked the chlorine dioxide. I mean, chlorine dioxide and ivermectin were like the two things that were given to everybody in the ICUs. Then when Fauci came on, he took out the ivermectin and replaced, and he replaced it with remdesivir and the ventilators. And that's what killed off all these people.
Yeah. Well, like I said, do that first thing in the morning.
Michelle, Dave, thank you, man. I really appreciate your time. I know
Good to see you, Mark. I hope George's doing better.
Hey, what's the emblem here?
It's just.
No, this one here.
Oh, it's for our SWAT team.
For which one?
Our SWAT team.
Oh, your SWAT team. Okay, I thought you were in the Navy.
No, that's just for us. But like I said, I called that lady first thing. I think her name, if I remember correctly, I think her name's Deborah.
And what does she look like?
Like 5'7", brown haired lady in her 40s. Like she's pretty nice.
Is
lady,
she
though.
light brown hair or brown, darker brown hair?
I've seen her change it a couple times.
She wear glasses? Because there was an older lady there one time that got real snitty with me. But she still let me in. And even today I went in, and yesterday I went in. The same lady made a complaint, and the nurse came, and she says, "Come on in, sir." And it was just like, I mean, I don't know why they wanted, but because I was calling to report her husband for that assault, is why they trespassed me. Because otherwise, we've been going through this every day that I don't want to touch that screen.
Yeah.
And I shouldn't have to.
I mean, honestly, maybe hopefully they'll change their policy. You know.
Yeah. Because I was trying to tell Dear, I don't like it when they encroach my rights. There's all these things that are going on right now where people are encroaching rights, and I don't like it. Like, I'll tell you right now, people should thank me, because when they try to do the COVID thing with the masks, okay, as soon as it hit, I was on my way to Walmart, and I had gone to the Walmart site to find out how they were going to do it, and I had their policy on me.
Yeah.
And it said, ask the mask if they want to wear a mask. If they say no, ask them again. If they say no, just let them shop. That was their official policy.
Yeah.
So I went down there, and I said, no thank you, no thank you, and I kept walking, and then finally right when I was finally ready to go, and I'm standing in line ready to thing, this lady, she says, you got to wear a mask, or you're gonna. I said, I'm just here, and I don't want to wear a mask. But look at your own policy. Make a long story short, she called the sheriffs out there. And I still want to press charges on the sheriff because they joshed me. I filed a complaint, but they never filed it officially. And I may go back to get this guy. But anyways, this one officer, there are two officers show up, but one of them was very aggressive. He's like, you need to wear a mask or I'm going to trespass. And I go, what are you talking about? I go, what's their policy? Go look at their policy. How can you trespass me against their policy? He says, wear a mask or I'm going to trespass you or whatever, arrest you. That's what he threatened me with arrest. So I put the mask on, but I put it under my nose. And he says, no, you got to wear it correctly. And I'm like, and you obviously better believe I got furious. I stopped what I was doing. I called the supervisor. I mean, everybody was trying to shut me up. I'm like, I'm not going to fucking shut up. Nobody's going to tell me to wear a fucking mask, blah, 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 blah. And they shut that shit down right there on the spot. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll tell you, COVID was a crazy time. Yeah, people, sitting there.
Like, but it's based on their fear that they're going to encroach on my rights. And it's like, man, if you're scared of the fucking dark, too bad. I'm not sleeping with the lights on.
People, I'll tell you, that time, people were doing all kinds of crazy things. If you didn't wear a mask some places, there's a whole bunch of videos of people, beating people up for not wearing a mask and that kind of stuff. I was like, this is crazy. Those were the...
But one thing is concerning, dear, for him to try and justify, how would you feel if somebody was yelling? And he didn't even go in, and he was still postulating that I was the one at fault, and I was lying about what happened. I can't believe this. Anyway, that's why
It's kind of sounded like he was doing a hypothetical with the whole Will Smith thing, but that whole
whatever.
Smith,
but my point is, I only pointed up because I said, well, what did Chris Smith do? Did he say anything to Jada? Why did Will step up and get all in his face? That's all I was pointing out. I go, it was an incident like that. I was talking to her, telling her I don't want to do this. She was complaining. Then he just I don't even know who he was. He sat up and he goes, something. First he was kind of from afar, stood up and said his shit right about me or whatever. Don't talk to my wife like that, blah, blah, blah. Then I sat back down, but I did get back up and I said something because when she was going to do something, and that's when he got up and right in my face. I was just like, I just sat there and I watched his hands, man. I'm like, all right. And then he stepped back and I was like, okay. But it was frightening. I mean, I'm a 62-year-old man. I'm not somebody who's wanting to fight anymore, right?
Yeah, you just want, hey, I just want to get the hell in here to see my
and
uncle.
drop this off for my cousin who's sick. And you guys do this to me every day. And I don't know what the hassle is. If it's a personal thing, then say it's a personal thing. But don't try and force me to do constitutional acts, touching screens. If that's your requirement, you do it. I gave him my ID, and I even offered to write it down on a log. Anyways, I know you got work to do, man. Thanks again. I'm sorry. I appreciate the listening. Thanks, dude.